Hello, everyone. Today, I want to tell you a story about a time in my life when I felt very weak and lost. It was a time when I had many big problems, and I often thought I couldn't go on. But through these hard times, I learned something very important about myself. You are stronger than you think. This is a lesson I keep with me every day, and I hope by sharing my journey, you might find some of your own hidden strength too. Part 1. The Surprise Trouble. My story starts about 5 years ago. My life was good and calm. I had a job I liked, a nice apartment, and a few good friends. I liked my daily life, working, meeting friends for coffee, spending weekends reading or walking. I felt happy and safe. I thought life would stay this way. I had never had any really big problems, so I was not ready for what came next. Then, suddenly, bad things happened. It was like a storm in my life. First, my company said they were making big changes. Many people lost their jobs, and I was one of them. It felt like a hard hit. One day, I had a job and a place to go. The next day, I had nothing. Fear started to grow inside me. How would I pay my bills? What would I do every day? Just as I was trying to deal with losing my job, another problem came. My landlord decided to sell the apartment building, and everyone had to leave. So, I had no job, and I also had to find a new home in a very expensive city. It felt like the ground under my feet was shaking. I spent days looking for jobs online, sending many forms, but no one called me back. My money started to get less and less. I tried to be happy, but it was hard. I stopped going out with friends because I worried about money. I spent most of my time alone in my apartment. It felt less like a home now. The quiet was back, but this time, it was full of worry and sadness. I felt very small and weak. Every morning, I woke up with a heavy feeling in my chest. I looked in the mirror and saw a tired person, someone who felt like a failure. The future seemed dark, like many clouds, and I couldn't see any light. I felt like I was floating in a big, cold ocean with no land nearby. Part 2. The Heavy Feeling of Worry. As the days turned into weeks, my worries felt heavier. I tried to do things, but often, I just sat and looked at the walls. My phone rarely rang, and when it did, it was usually a call I didn't want, like from someone asking for money. My friends sometimes called to ask how I was, and I always said, "I'm okay," but I was not. I felt bad that I had no job and couldn't find a new one. I didn't want them to see how scared and tired I really was. Eating was hard. I often forgot to eat, or I ate very little. Sleeping was also difficult. My mind was always busy, thinking about problems, thinking about the worst things that could happen. I would lie awake for hours, just looking at the ceiling, feeling the silent worry grow inside me. Sometimes, I would cry quietly, wishing I could go back to the time when my life was simple and easy. I started to stay away from places where I might see people I knew. I didn't want to tell them about my problems. I felt like a failure, and that feeling made me want to hide. I walked with my head down, trying to be invisible in the crowd. The lively city I once lived in now felt like a giant maze where I was stuck. Every street corner felt like another problem, another reminder of my hard times. One afternoon, I was walking in a park, feeling very sad. I saw a small child trying to climb a tall slide. The child tried once and fell, then tried again, and almost fell. But the child did not cry. The child just looked at the slide with serious eyes, took a deep breath, and tried again. Slowly, carefully. And this time, the child got to the top and slid down with a happy laugh. Watching that small child, I felt a tiny spark inside me. If a child could try again after falling, why couldn't I? But the spark was very small, easy to put out by the big worries in my mind. I still felt that I was not good enough, that I was too weak to fight these battles. The heavy feeling of worry was still on my shoulders. Part 3. A Small Surprising Light. One morning, after a long night with no sleep, I decided I couldn't just sit and do nothing anymore. I felt tired of being sad and scared. I needed to do something, anything, to feel a little bit of power. I had no plan, but I knew I needed a change. I went to a local community center that I had walked past many times, but never went inside. It looked friendly, with papers about different classes and things to do. Inside, it was warm and lively. People were talking, laughing, and learning new things. I saw a sign on a board, "Help needed for the local animal place." I loved animals, but I had never thought about helping without pay before. It gave no money, but it was something I could do, something that might help me feel useful. I walked to the animal place the next day. It was a busy, noisy place, full of dogs barking and cats making sounds. I told the manager I wanted to help. She was a nice woman with a warm smile. She told me about the work: cleaning rooms, walking dogs, playing with cats, and helping people take animals home. It sounded like hard work, but also important. I started helping that very day. My first job was to clean some dog rooms. It was dirty work, and the dogs were very active. I got tired quickly, but as I worked, I felt something new. I was doing something for someone else, for these animals who needed care. When I finished cleaning a room, a small, fluffy dog came to the door and moved its tail, looking at me with big, happy eyes. It felt like a small thank you. That tiny moment of thanks, that wagging tail, was like a small, surprising light in my dark days. It made me smile. A real smile. For the first time in weeks, I started going to the shelter every day. It was hard work, but it also felt good. The animals needed me, and I needed them. They didn't care that I had no job or a permanent home. They just wanted love and care. I spent hours walking dogs in the park, playing with baby cats, and holding shy cats. Their love began to fix something inside me. I still had no job and no real home, but here, in the shelter, I felt a new kind of purpose. The noise of the shelter was a happy noise, full of life, very different from the empty quiet of my apartment. I was slowly starting to find strength, not in money or a job, but in helping others. Part 4. Small Wins, Growing Confidence. Working at the animal shelter every day brought small successes, which slowly built my confidence. Every time a dog had a happy walk with me, or a scared cat finally let me pet it, I felt good. These small moments, even if they seemed not important, were very big for me. They showed me that I could still be useful, that I could still make a good change in the world, even when my own life felt broken. I also met other people who helped at the shelter. They were people from all kinds of lives: students, old people, busy workers. We all loved animals. We talked about the animals, about our lives, and sometimes about our problems. I slowly started to tell them about my situation. To my surprise, they did not judge me. Instead, they said kind words and shared their own stories of hard times. This made me feel less alone. One day, the manager of the shelter, the kind woman with the warm smile, saw me struggling to fix a broken fence where the dogs played. It was a small fix, but I was not very good with tools. She came over and helped me. As we worked, she said, "You know, you are good with animals. They seem to trust you quickly. Have you ever thought about working with animals as a job?" Her words surprised me. I had never thought about a job with animals. My old job was very different. But her comment put a new idea in my mind, a small seed of a dream. It was a path I had not thought about, a door I had not seen. I started to look for jobs helping animals, like animal trainers or people who help vets. It was a world I knew nothing about, but it felt exciting, full of new chances. The fear of not finding a job was still there, but it was now mixed with a new kind of hope. Each small win at the shelter, each kind word from another helper, and each wagging tail added to my growing confidence. I was learning that strength was not just about fighting big battles, but also about winning small ones day by day. It was about seeing how far I had come, even if it was just a few steps. I was starting to stand a little taller, to look people in the eye, and to believe that maybe, just maybe, I could find my way. Part 5. Finding a New Path and a New Home. With my growing confidence, I started to take more active steps to find a new job. I used the computers at the community center to look for jobs with animals. I also talked to other helpers who worked with animals to get advice. I learned a lot. I found out that many jobs with animals did not need a university paper, but they liked people with experience and love for animals. I had love for animals, and I was getting experience every day at the shelter. One day, I saw a job opening for an animal helper at a small animal doctor's office near the shelter. It was not my old office job, but it was about working with animals and helping people. I felt nervous, but I sent my job application. I used all the skills I had learned at the shelter to write my application and get ready for the interview. I practiced what I would say, focusing on my love for animals and my hard work as a helper. The interview was hard, but I felt more ready than I thought I would be. I talked about the dogs I walked, the cats I made feel better, and the small improvements I saw in their health and happiness. The clinic manager listened carefully. After a few days, I got a call. I got the job. It was not a job that paid a lot of money, but it was a start, a real step forward. The relief and happiness I felt were huge. It was the first big light at the end of a very long, dark time. With a job, even a small one, I could finally focus on finding a new apartment. It took some time, but I found a small, cheap place not far from the animal doctor's office. It was not fancy, but it was mine, and it felt like a real home. It had a small window that looked out onto a quiet street, and for the first time in a long time, the quiet inside my apartment felt peaceful, not empty. My life slowly found a new way. I continued to help at the animal shelter on weekends because I still loved being there and helping. My new job at the clinic was hard but good. I learned so much every day about animal health and care. I saw the joy in people's faces when their pets felt better. My coworkers at the clinic were friendly, and I started to see more people. I met new people through work and also spent more time with my old friends. I had no bad feelings now. I could tell them my whole story, and they listened and were proud of me. Part 6. You are stronger than you think. Looking back at that hard time, I can clearly see the lesson I learned. You are stronger than you think. When the problems came, I felt completely broken. I thought I had no strength, no way to beat the problems. But the truth was, the strength was always there, hidden inside me. I just needed the right situations to find it. It was not a sudden big power. It was built slowly, little by little. It started with a small choice to help at the shelter, a small act to help myself. Then came the small successes at the shelter, building my confidence step by step. It was staying strong quietly, deciding to keep going even when I felt like giving up. It was the kindness of others, like the shelter manager and the other helpers, who helped me see new chances. And it was my own decision to try a new way, even if it was very different from what I planned. This experience taught me that strength is not just about strong muscles or being loud. It's about being able to bend but not break when life pushes you hard. It's about the brave feeling to take small steps forward, even when you're scared. It's about finding meaning in helping others, which then helps yourself. It's about being open to new ideas and new paths you never thought about before. If you are having a hard time now, if you feel weak or lost, please remember my story. You might feel like you can't take another step, but I promise you, there is strength inside you. It might be hidden, deep down, but it's there. Look for the small lights, the tiny moments of hope. Take one small step forward, even if it feels impossible. Be kind to yourself and be open to help from surprising places. You will find your way, and you will find a strength you never knew you had. Because, truly, you are stronger than you think. You have the power inside you to get through problems, to change with life, and to build a new, good life, even from the parts of what you thought was lost. Just believe in that hidden strength and keep moving forward.